Here's like to have minds of their own. Good.
Hold on. A little bit of difficulties.
Perfect. And we're live. All right. Perfect. Sorry, everybody. We just kicked off a little couple seconds there, maybe a minute later. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Beast Mode NY is here, and tonight we are bringing you our first zombie ever, and probably the most number one in everyone's hearts out there, I'm sure. The one and only Stephen Vining. Damn it!
We just covered this 30 seconds ago.
Oh, I have Vinning I told him I have
Vinning.
hashtag Vinning in my head all night, so it was natural to come out that way. Vining. So everyone, thank you for joining us. He's going to give us a few minutes tonight, and we're going to try to get through this without any hiccups like usual. All right, Steven, want to say hi to everybody?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Glad everybody joined in, and thanks everybody for tweeting and telling everybody to check it out. So
yeah, they definitely did that. They definitely did that. Thank you everybody too, also for getting the word out there for everyone. And we'll start off with the night with your background. So you're pretty new to the game. 2013, you had your first your first big break in Hunger Games. It was Mockingjay Part 1, right? And you kind of just from there started. So did you go? You went from Mockingjay to Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then you had a small part in Spider-Man: Homecoming also.
Yeah, it started in 2013. I got the job on Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1.
Yep.
And from there, I got into The Walking Dead first.
Oh, okay.
And actually, it was a show called Halt and Catch Fire. And on that show, I met the casting people for The Walking Dead. Doing all the prosthetic work on The Walking Dead is what led me to be able to get considered for Guardians. And Spider-Man was just from working with the same casting company as Guardians. But it was actually, I think, my second time I did work out of makeup.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you can barely see me in it like we were talking before. But, yeah, it was fun to do something out of makeup.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, you want to put yourself out more, yourself as a person more than just you playing a zombie or whatever character they try to creature they put you in.
Absolutely.
All right, so what do you got going on currently? I know you have you're into music, right?
Yeah. Yes, I produce under the name Ethylent. I've been producing since 2011, and last year put out an album with a rapper from Denver.
Okay.
His name is Time, and we had a pretty good write-up in Vice and pretty good reception, and I'm just trying to build from that and move forward. So I've been working on new material, but I don't know when that album will be out. I'm still tinkering with things, but as far as music, I'm still working on stuff.
So what would you call your sound? What is it? Is it
It's it's a mixture of things. It's definitely something that I spent time crafting myself. I wanted it to sound very unique and not like other things. So it's very experimental.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of electronic influence. It also has a lot of hip-hop influence. I grew up, probably my favorite group was Wu-Tang Clan and Outkast. So, those kinds of things definitely influenced my musical style. But at the same time, I was in hardcore and punk bands growing up as a kid. So that do-it-yourself mentality kind of keeps me going. It's one of those things. I'll probably never give up making music just because it's something that's in me from a kid.
Right. Well, you grew up in Atlanta, down in Georgia, right?
I grew up in Augusta, Georgia, right
Okay.
outside. It's about 2.5 hours from Atlanta.
Yeah. So you got that.
Uh,
You got that dirty South blood in you. You know what I mean? They call
yeah,
it the dirty
very.
South.
Augusta has a deep musical history. It's the hometown of James Brown.
Yep.
There's a lot of soul in that city. I think every person from Augusta is a musician at heart.
Yeah. Hey, it's the South. You know, a lot. You know, it's Georgia and it's the South, and you know, I feel like it's true. I feel like Georgia has a very rich musical history.
Yeah.
Oh, indeed.
And especially with like I want to say jazz, right? Like
Blues,
Blues,
I
yeah.
think probably Louisiana's more jazz,
Yeah.
but the blues here, there's definitely a good bit of blues history, especially in the deep south part of Georgia.
right,
Macon,
yeah,
it's, Otis Redding, lot of folks.
yeah.
come from around here.
I know Macon for one reason. All right, the first time I ever heard of Macon. Want to take a guess? Playing the Walking Dead video game.
Oh yeah, the Telltale video
The
The
game.
Telltale video game. Lee and his family, the main character in the game, well, he was from Macon, Georgia.
Yep.
That's how I found out about Macon, Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah, from a video game. So there's
Yeah,
that.
it's not a very big town, and
Yeah.
it's right in the middle of Georgia, so it's dead center.
Awesome. All right, so you got your music. You just wrapped up a was it a short film or show called Itch?
Yeah, it was. I went up to New York for a week at the
Man.
beginning of August.
You were hanging out up here. You didn't want to knock on our door?
And I know that so many people were asking me to hang out, but it was one of those situations where I flew in, I went straight to set, and I worked for 5 days, and then went straight to the airport and flew back home. So
Where in
I think I was
Where in
gonna
New York?
have to. Excuse me.
Where in New York?
I flew into JFK,
Yep.
and I spent a night in Brooklyn. Went up to the Catskills, Bovina.
Went right by us.
Yeah, right through us.
Blew right by us.
Where are y'all at?
We're outside of the city of Poughkeepsie, so we're right on the Hudson.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know exactly. Yeah, we just kept going straight instead of cut in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have.
But yeah,
Damn it.
so that was a horror short that we did. It's I think it's a psychological horror movie.
Nice.
The script was written by a guy and directed by a guy named Matt Cochran. He's from New York City. He's first time director, I believe, but I mean, I think he taught me a lot about how to put a film together, and like it was very. I think it's something we're all going to be proud of when he gets his finishing touches put on it. So I don't know when that's coming out. It should be spring 2018.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. First creature role, like fully, that I think I did outside of The Walking Dead.
Right.
That I'll be credited for. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, that's awesome. We'll be looking forward to when you release it, so we can all check it out. That's awesome.
Hopefully, I'll be coming back up to New York when that happens, and
Then you can
hang out.
Yeah,
Yeah, let us
we'll
know,
meet
man.
you halfway, man. This is this is where we hang out.
Yeah. The Catskills are a hop, skip, and jump away from us.
Yeah. So you were up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Makes me really wonder what was going on up there.
It's beautiful
Yeah.
there, though. I mean, I could have stayed. That was, my second time being to the Catskills, but the first time I got to spend a little extended time there, and it was, beautiful country.
It's what we're known for.
Yeah. We're known for the apples and the scenery.
Yeah. All right, so we got some questions obviously coming in. Let me see. Katie Lester wants to know. She says, "Hi, Steven and guys. She wants to know if your skin ever gets tight with all the makeup and like FX makeup and stuff. Like, does your skin ever get like afterward when you take it off? Does it feel like your skin's like leather? I guess like tight.
I wouldn't say like leather or anything like that, but and my skin's really good with being resistant towards being affected from the latex and I think that's why they work with me a lot, is my body doesn't react to it as much as some people. But I have worked a period where I worked 5 days in a row on set, and on that 5th day, pulling the makeup off, my skin was tender. Yeah. It was starting to get raw, but that was from excessive use over 5 days. So, and that's the day I was like, I need a break.
Right. Yeah.
Call me back in 2 weeks. I need a break from that. But but it takes a minute for my skin to get there. I've seen some people have immediate reactions to it that it just, the second it comes off, their faces are beet red, and it's.
What do you do for that? You got to take some Benadryl? Is that like an allergic reaction to, or?
I guess in one case it could be an allergic reaction. I think they would have figured that out before leaving it on that long. Mm-hmm. Usually I think that's just your skin's irritated, and when your face is under prosthetics, your pores aren't getting a chance to breathe all day.
Right.
So when it comes off, I think a lot of people's skin is naturally blushy.
Right. I don't think I would react well with it. Marissa says, "Hello, Steven. By the way, you're getting a lot of compliments on your voice."
Oh, okay. Cool.
They're digging the deep voice, man. So Marissa says, what are some of the challenges of creature acting?
That's a good question, because for me, creature acting is less challenging than acting without the makeup. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's probably why I tend to do creature makeups and work in that, because I'm more comfortable in that role. But I would say, I guess the challenging thing would be, it's not all fun. Sometimes you're sitting on set and you've been there 12 hours. You've had full body makeup on all day, and you're waiting to shoot your scene, and it's just you're ready to do that scene and get that makeup off. It's probably the most challenging thing is just dealing with the sensory deprivation of having in contacts that impair your vision, having indentures that you can't speak and communicate normally if you have the zombie teeth in. Most of the times you're in a ball cap, which covers your ears, so you have limited hearing. There's some times where it's like being in a deprivation tank, where all senses, even touch, if your hands are painted, and it's like your sensory. So that to me would probably be the hardest part, is some days that gets to you,
That almost sounds like a nightmare to me. Like, I'm not lying. That
after a long time of it.
Yeah. I like to think that I have a decent amount of patience, but I think after I knew he was going to turn and look at me like that, because he thinks I don't have any patience at all. But all right. When you're at work, because we work together, so when you're at work and the type of people we're usually working with, we do private security, so for a hospital. So we deal with a lot of creatures every day, to put it nicely. So my patience at work isn't going to be the same as if I'm out with my kids, you know what I mean, or whatever. I do have patience. All right, they're just minimal.
It must be when you're around me then.
Just minimal at work, and that means I'm around you.
Even outside of work.
I love you outside of work. I love you at work. But yeah, I would probably go crazy thinking how you just described it with the ears and your the sensory, your senses being deprived. Yeah, I would probably.
It can be hard to deal with.
I'd probably flip out. All right, we're getting now we're going.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to keep up with writing them all down.
That's okay. Linda Allen says, "Hey Steven, what is your team? Team Rick, Team Negan, or Team Walkers?"
Wow. Definitely immediately you can take off Team Negan.
Yes. There it is.
I guess I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I like Rick, but I'm Team Walkers.
Team Walkers.
Yeah, I guess at the end of that, what that means is I don't want there to be a cure. I want them to just take over everything. That would be cool.
I gotta say, I'm kind of with you on that one. I don't want it to ever end, and I hate every article that comes out, and they keep talking about, The Walking Dead when it ends. All right, can we just enjoy what we have? Why is it gotta end? Like, it doesn't have to end.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I honestly don't know if it really will for some time. They seem to have gotten it right as far as knowing how to manage that comic.
Yeah, well, they're at what 168, right? No, what? They're at like 100 and something, 168 right now. I think they just released 168, or was it one?
Like the episode?
Yeah, as far as the comic goes.
The comic. Yeah, like what is in the
it's like 168. Yeah, so it's like there's no need to even discuss stopping right now or it ending. Everybody wants to know what it's going to end. It's like, why do you want to end something that's great to the people who enjoy the genre?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be one of those things that goes on like, it's in no comparison to this show, but as far as longevity, I think it might be one of those things like Star Trek, where it has just a lot of seasons and it keeps going. And I think it's a TV show that's going to defy that idea of things have to be in a certain canon,
Yeah. I want 20 seasons.
Oh, wow.
I want 20. Give me 20, and then I'll be happy with retiring it after that. We're at 8. You can't give me...
Not even Law & Order SVU has hit 20 seasons yet. They just hit their 19th season.
See, they're working on 20, though.
They're the longest-running television drama.
Yeah.
Do you think that Walking Dead is going to run for 20 seasons?
Probably not, but that's what I want.
Oh, okay.
I can say I want that. Let me see. Gay says, "Hi, Steven. Do you plan on sticking with roles in makeup or doing more without?"
I plan on doing both. I would like to build as much of a career doing creature work as possible. I love it. I think that's where I figured out I liked acting. But I also do want to, come out of my box more. So more roles outside of makeup, I'm all for it. I'm kind of open to anything at this point as far as acting. So I think the future holds both things.
Yeah.
Probably a little more creature work because that's where I built my game.
Right.
But, hopefully I can start establishing my name outside of that as well.
Yeah, and I hope so too. If you had, let's say, your dream casting call, what would it be?
Well, I think, it's been done a lot of times.
But you can do it better.
I think I could do it. I do. And this is a bold statement because I love Boris Karloff. I love his version of Frankenstein. I was able to do a makeup where I was put in a Frankenstein makeup. I love Frankenstein, the story of it. And I've always wanted to perform a Frankenstein or a mummy. Mm-hmm. Those original Universal monsters that Karloff brought to life inspired me a lot. And I don't think that I could do them better, but I do think that I could portray them well and differently. I have my own ideas, but there are certain things that Karloff did with Frankenstein that are just For me, it's honestly, we shouldn't make any more Frankensteins.
Right.
But there's a comic book artist, Bernie Wrightson. He did a version of Frankenstein, and if you ever see that version of Frankenstein, that is the version of Frankenstein that I would like to portray.
I'll have to look that up.
Very muscly and it's skinny, but skin ripped off, torn. So it would be like a full body makeup, and I think it would be something I'd like to do. So Frankenstein or, the Mummy. I think that would be my dream.
That's awesome. All right. So have you always, like, you spent, like, this that type of genre, has it always been something that you just loved, like, what, kind of been drawn to your whole life, or?
As far as horror?
Yeah, like, being,
No. Horror movies, I was introduced to horror movies, like, I think the first couple of horror movies I saw were Nightmare on Elm Street, the Jasons and the Freddys, and, I wasn't much into horror. I think I grew up more in comedy and drama, war movies and old Western movies from my dad. But yeah, horror is something that, I'm just a fan of movies in general, so I have an appreciation for a lot of genres, and horror movies, I definitely enjoy being in them. I like playing villains. I do like portraying that aspect of things rather than playing good guys.
All right. Well, that's okay. Bad guys are great. Just want to go through. Well, you handed me a nice list here. All right. Lucy says, if you couldn't side with the Walkers, would you support Rick or Negan? So they're trying to get you to pick a Rick or Negan here.
Rick or Negan? Rick all day.
Rick all day. See? All right.
I'm Team Regan.
Regan?
Yeah, I ship not Norm Regan, Jesus Christ, Andrew Lincoln and Jeffrey D. Morgan. So,
Okay, well, what are you gonna do? Linda wants to know, what was the hardest thing you had to deal with in The Walking Dead, as far as, I guess, being in character on set?
I'll just say the first thing that popped into my mind with that, and the Napalm Walkers in season 5. That was maybe the 4th time I was a walker, and half of my body was buried underground. I was laying on my back all day. Norman Reedus is sticking his hands all over my face in the scene and pulling off my head. And it was in the middle of July. It was really hot.
Yeah.
And one of those days where we had PAs standing over us holding umbrellas to shield us from the sun in between takes. And I think that was probably the hardest day mentally for me, because it was just unbearably hot and physically taxing on a hot Georgia day. It was that's probably the hardest scene I filmed.
I would say probably, the most, definitely between the heat and then, like, water scenes, being submerged and being in water or whatever, that's got to be, you just get, like, waterlogged.
Yeah, makeup does get waterlogged. I was one of the water walkers, the big nasty one with the
neck and stuff
face hanging off.
Yeah.
But the difference is that water was heated. But at the end of the day, even with it being heated, when you work in water for 6-7 hours, you're shivering. Right. So it did get cold after a while, and the makeup, once it gets wet, it gets heavier. So, I already had 10 pounds on my face, and when Michonne stabs me and I fall in, every time I got back out of the water, it was like, that's another 5 pounds. You just felt it.
Yeah, and it's taxing. Like you said, it's very taxing on the body, especially, extra weight to bear and all that stuff. Denise wants to know, who was your favorite walker that you got? What was your favorite walker you got to be?
That's really hard for me. It really is. I think I have a different one on different days.
Mm-hmm.
For different reasons. I think I'll say my favorite walker was probably the office walker, the Sunrise Insurance walker in season 6.
With Abraham and Sasha.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you were in the office, right? Beating on the window.
Yeah. I think just because that day and that scene, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a really long scene that I got to participate in all day.
Right.
And it was just the message that the before the person turned into a walker, that was me, that they left for humanity. It was one of the first walkers that I got to portray that had some sense of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
That I got to see, and I tried as best as I could to portray a very non-threatening walker in that sense of almost giving up, defeated.
Right. I got a real easy one here. This is going to be a cakewalk. Marissa wants to know.
This is my favorite question.
Yeah, Marissa wants to know, DC or Marvel?
Man. As far as comics or movies?
Comics.
And movies.
Okay, yes, but more specifically comics.
Okay. Comics? DC.
Yes.
Movies? Marvel.
Okay.
Minus the Christopher Nolan Batman. The Christopher Nolan Batman, the Batman Begins, the Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises, I enjoyed those.
Yeah.
Batman is by far my favorite superhero, so that's why I say DC. But Marvel, I love the X-Men. So I love Incredible Hulk. He was a big part of my childhood. So, yeah.
All right, so if you could be a superhero or a supervillain, what would you want your powers to be? Give me 3 powers you would love to have.
Oh, man. I haven't thought about these kinds of things.
On the spot.
Flight.
Okay.
I'd like to fly. That'd be cool.
All right.
I've had some dreams where I fly, and if it feels anything like that, I like that. So flying, maybe. I don't know. What's something really cool that's maybe teleportation. So that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Kind of like Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nightcrawler. Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, exactly. And then just maybe something along the lines of Wolverine's adamantium bones without the painful process of getting them installed. So,
like through
or Wolverine's healing factor.
There you go.
A healing factor would be good.
So yeah,
I'd have to go.
I would have to go with healing factor too. That would definitely have to be one of mine. Between like Deadpool. Deadpool is like my favorite. I'm a huge Deadpool guy. So definitely, and he can also teleport too, which is kind of cool. He can use the realms and shit and bounce around.
Well, he can also time travel.
Well, time travel through,
Well, mine would be super speed, invisibility, and X-Men, Wolverine's healing factor.
Super speed.
Invincibility.
You know what? People who want to be invisible, they creep me out. Why you want to be invisible? Why can't I see what you're doing all the time?
Because I feel invisible to the world, so it's a reflection of my interpersonal feelings.
Do you want to have a
damn? That went deep.
Do you want to have a boo-hoo moment? You can have a boo-hoo moment off camera. Wait. All right. Let me see. Katie says, "Thank you for keeping the grunge fashion." I'm guessing she maybe the hair and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've cut my hair recently, actually. So it used to come down to here.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've definitely seen it longer.
I'm wearing a T-shirt of my friend's tattoo shop. So maybe that's it. Old time.
You got tats?
Huh?
You got tats?
Yeah, I have 3.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Linda says, if you weren't a walker, what character would you want to be?
On The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's different.
I don't know. If I could choose of the characters on the show, I wouldn't mind being Dwight. That seems like a cool role to play. And, no discredit to Austin because he's an excellent actor and he's a really cool guy. So, I'm not advocating to take away that job, nor do I think I ever could. But if I could play a role on The Walking Dead, that's one of the more dynamic ones that I think has popped up in a while.
Yeah. I could definitely see you playing a Dwight, too. I mean, not for nothing. You seem like you could definitely pull it off. And like you said, no discredit, just saying, you look like you could definitely pull that off. I'm going to cross off Linda's. Lucy says, if you had your chance to bite, while you're on the show, if you had your chance to bite a main character, who would you have loved to have gotten your teeth into?
Well, I did bite Carter.
Yeah, you got Carter.
On the tree, so and I got to eat a couple of other characters.
Well, you got to eat some. You got to eat some brains of some people that were dearly loved.
Yeah, I got to eat those brains of Abraham and Glenn. That was an amazing walker and experience to play as well. But if I could bite any character and take them out currently on the show, it'd probably be Rick. And I just, I wouldn't want to do Daryl because I do feel like if they write a walker that takes Daryl out, I don't want to be that guy that has to live that down.
That's a smart answer.
He doesn't want to be the guy that gets protested against by every woman in the world that loves Norman Reedus.
Like if a walker took out Rick, the writing would have to happen in such a way where you couldn't hate him.
Right.
So I feel like...
the sad part is I really wish I could say that you're just being paranoid, but then look what happened to, like, Josh McDermott.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no.
And he didn't even kill anybody. He switched sides.
Yeah. And you know what?
Yeah, that's forever.
Yeah.
Once it's on celluloid, it's not going to go away.
No.
It's crazy. Like, not for nothing, but, like, I understand fandom. But it is crazy what you hear and see what happens to some of these guys. Like, we even talking to Seth. We talked to Seth Gilliam, and even, like, the threats he would receive because people were like,
oh, you're a coward.
You're a coward and this and that and whatever. And he's like, you do realize I'm just playing a character on a show. But,
Yeah. It's, a lot of people have a hard time, I guess, separating that fiction from reality.
I suppose.
Wow. I just...
So we have a whole lot of crazy. Her name, or hers or his name is Whole Lot of Crazy. If you could be on any show currently, what would you like to be on?
Currently, if I could have been on any shows semi-currently, I would have loved to have been in Twin Peaks, the revival that just happened, the return.
Okay.
Oh,
cool. The season finale just ended, so, and I don't think that they're going to continue that universe, but if they do continue the Twin Peaks universe, I would love to be in a David Lynch film, television show of any kind. I think other shows that I'd be interested in currently on are obviously Game of Thrones, just for the creature work. The White Walk. A few of my friends are White Walkers, and
that's pretty cool.
I've been absolutely envious when they talk about those days on sets. And I'd love to work on Doctor Who, or even Gotham. For these makeup parts. I think it would be. One of my friends, makeup artist Adam Bailey, does makeup effects on Gotham, and he just did my makeup on that short film Itch, and I'd love to get on there and work with him and do something on that show with him. So again,
got to get him to put that card on someone's desk, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy, by the way, I heard is really good.
Yeah, I'm in the process of, I've been through a couple of agents and I'm shopping around new ones right now. So it's like acting is an ongoing battle.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where there'll be a month or two you don't have any work, and then the next month you're having to cancel people because there's too much piled on top of it. So
Right.
it's a weird industry.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Okay, so Linda wants to know your audition. What made you want to audition for The Walking Dead?
I was on another show. To be honest, people had been telling me to audition since season 1, and I just never did. And when they started filming season 5, I did a TV show called Halt and Catch Fire, and the casting company cast for The Walking Dead, and they invited me out. They were like, you're skinny, come out to The Walking Dead and do zombie school. So when they called a couple of weeks later, I went, and I mean, that was my motivation was, I just happened to be on another show. They invited me, and I went out there and took that chance. And it was one of those things that it came out of left field. I wasn't pursuing it. It just happened. And I just jumped at that opportunity.
Very nice. Well, and it worked out great. You got 2.5, 3 seasons out of it. So, I mean,
Yes. It was a wild, fun ride. Like, I loved it.
Do you still, I mean, I don't know, you obviously got to be around a lot of the main characters a lot, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, is it close-knit like that? Do you guys all keep in touch and stuff like that, or,
Well, as far as the walkers, I'm still in touch with a lot of my walker buddies that I worked with on set. More than a handful.
Yeah.
We stay in touch and communicate. As far as the main actors and main cast, I'm still in touch with like 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. But I'm more in touch with a lot of people in the crew.
Okay.
The crew is, you work those long hours with them, and so the makeup artists, to me, I'm still very friendly with them. I will always have a huge heart for KMBFX and Kevin Wasner and Karen Jackson and Garrett Immel, Jake Garber, Gino. They're all, they made working at The Walking Dead more like why I love to come back. It was just, but yeah, you get so much in touch with them. Sorry to get off track, but you work so much that like you keep in touch with some. It is very, very tight knit. But at times, on the flip side, it's a competitive industry.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of not tight tight knitness as well.
Right. I hear you. How many hours how many hours a day would you spend prepping and makeup and then afterwards getting it taken off?
Prep, is, let's say, most days prep for normal zombie makeup is going to be, a couple of hours, 2 hours tops, hour and a half. If it's a full body makeup, it can be up to 4, hopefully around 3.
Yeah.
And then you go straight to set, do the scene, and then come back and, or go to lunch, come back and finish the scene. And so, and then taking it off, it's usually, at least an hour.
How do you eat lunch while having that on?
It's an interesting question. It's hard. Some days it's easy if you just have a face that's not too messed up. Some days, like the water walker day, I could only drink smoothies. I couldn't eat solid foods because my mouth wouldn't open up. far enough. I had to eat with one eye shut and one eye open, so I was sitting there like, you know, it was it can be interesting.
See, that's the kind of stuff you don't
Man.
think about. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see a walker on The Walking Dead. You're like, wow, how does this guy eat in between takes?
Yeah, this man earned every freaking dollar he got.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. It's and the best is when you're working on the days where there's like a whole herd of us, and you come in the tent and there's 100, 200 walkers just eating lunch like it's a normal thing. And it's so weird to just walk around sometimes, even when you're in it, and just kind of step back and be in that moment. And such a vision to see.
We have someone who's joined in. His name is Eric Watland.
I think Eric Waitland.
Waitland?
Yeah.
Waitland?
I never know how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eric. But yeah, I worked with him.
He said, I just wanted to say hello and that we miss you on set, Steven.
Cool. Tell him, well, hey, Eric. Yeah, I definitely miss being there sometimes.
Well, that's cool. Thank you for tuning in, Eric. Appreciate it. All right, so get back to the questions here. You good on time still?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Making music videos. Tiffany wants to know, will you continue making music videos? You making music videos?
Yes, I still direct my own videos. And yeah, I will be making more. I'm making new music right now. Actually, today I was working on a new song earlier. Trying to take advantage of this little break that I have. So, you know, yeah, there was going to be more videos, more content in the future. I just got to get a lot of that stuff together, but it'll be out pretty soon. Thanks for asking.
And and your music, you said, you know, it's in the works as well. So I mean, you know, all that's all coming together for you. So that's good. Did we already do this one? Which main character would you want to kill you, or no? No. We did a different one.
We asked him what main character he
Right.
want to bite.
Right.
But if you had to choose, which main character would you want to put a bullet through your head or stab you in the head?
Well, to be honest, I've been killed by most of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've been killed by a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think
Maggie.
the only one of that main group that I never got killed by was Carl. So I would like to go back just to get killed by Carl. I mean, I've been killed by Rick. Everyone else in that main group.
Yeah.
I've been killed by multiple times. But Carl somehow. I escaped working with him.
So how many times have you been killed?
Wait! I did the research on this. Hold on. I actually looked this up. I want to sound intelligent for 1 second.
Actually, it's funny. I figured that out earlier this year.
Let's see if we have the same number. Is it 23?
Yes. Yeah. 23.
It's killed 23 times.
Wow.
No, but like, what's your total like kill? So you've been killed 23. How many kills do you have? I didn't look that up.
Well, I have one kill, and
Besides Carter?
no, just Carter.
Oh, just Carter.
And then
Really?
I have, yeah, just the Carter. And then I ate. You know, I was a part of a group that ate a couple of different people in season 6. I can't remember their names. They were. Do you remember the scene in, I think, Glenn, it's season 6, they're in that small town, they're stuck in the alleys, and one guy gets pinned up against the fence.
Yes.
And then in another scene, a guy is getting eaten in an alley. I was part of both of those.
Okay.
So there's a lot of situations where I was a part of the Glenn ripping... Well, what's the guy who shoots himself right after that on top of the dumpster?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's the one where everybody thought that Glenn was going to die.
Yeah,
and
you were the one on top of him, though. You were one of the 2 or 3 guys on top of him.
I was one of the 4 that was leaning in and ripping everything out.
Yes.
Oh, Nikolas.
Nikolas. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's the only person I got a bite into those cards, and that was a fun day. I loved that scene. It was just actually we filmed that over 2 days, so I got to do that makeup twice.
You came out from like you were in the woods. You came out from out a tree, right?
Yeah, I was literally nailed to a tree.
Oh, okay.
With my intestines wrapped around it, and he runs by and I reach out and get him.
Very nice. I'm gonna have to rewatch that. Yep. There's a scene.
I'm playing on my phone.
Yeah, he's playing the Nikolas scene right now on his phone.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see. Michelle, which I found out Michelle is whole lot of crazy. How was your experience working on Guardians 2? I'm thinking maybe being on a movie set compared to being on a TV set. You know, your the makeup, I guess, everything.
Well, yeah. The makeup was different. You know, on The Walking Dead, they used latex mostly. On Guardians, I was in silicone. The makeup was I was familiar. I lucked out the first week. Karen Jackson, who also does makeup on The Walking Dead, did my first makeup with a guy named Matt Sprunger. And then when I did it, I think the third and fifth scenes that I did, Bart Mixon did my makeup with Sabrina Wilson. And Bart Mixon is the makeup artist who did the makeup for the original It.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
And he also did a lot of work on RoboCop. I mean, he's pretty prolific in his career. So it was really cool just to sit in his chair and get to hear all of his stories. But, you know, the experience overall on Guardians was just, you know, TV shoots a lot faster. So you're rushing to get those shots, and there's no time to fool around. On a movie set, I won't say it's more laid back, but it is more, you have a little bit more freedom to do things.
A little bit more leeway.
And I lucked out. I got to do a particular scene where James Gunn directed me personally in the Ravager ship when we're all gathered around Groot and Rocket and the whole Taserface scene, and that was a really awesome experience to get specific direction from James Gunn. And I worked another scene where I was another alien, but the scene was cut. But that day actually was one of my most fun days on sets because it was very intimate. It was me and another creature actor named Ben Bladen.
Mm-hmm.
He works on The Walking Dead too, and we had this scene together. There was another guy there from Walking Dead named Ashton Lee. So it was like a Walker reunion at Guardians. There was just, you'll be surprised how many Walkers are Ravengers. There's also like Kevin Galbraith, Michael Koski. I think I've named all the Walkers who were Ravengers. But yeah, it was a great experience. I loved it. I loved film probably a little more than television.
The casting for that, I mean, was that just go open casting? You went?
Yeah, I went to the open casting call for when Tammy Smith Casting in Atlanta was looking for creature actors, and once I saw that cold call go out, you know, we went down to, I think it was right by the airport, and went to that cold call casting, and you know, there was hundreds of people there the day I went, and there were 2 days of it, so I imagine they had a couple of thousand applicants.
Wow.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Wow. Getting back, I want to ask you. Getting back to The Walking Dead, as far as like most memorable scene, we spoke briefly before about how you got to eat the brains of two of the cast members that were killed off, which would be Glenn and Abraham. At the end of the show, you actually are the one that comes walking out of the woods, and you know you end up eating their brain remnants off the ground or whatever. How was that filming that scene? Because Was that like I don't know. Did that affect you in it? Was like extra? Was there extra for you in that, as far as because of the people involved in that whole day of shooting and how it seemed like exhausting that whole scene played out?
Yeah, that day, it was a day where I wasn't even supposed to get that part. I think 3 other people maybe were supposed to get that part, and because of, they couldn't work or whatever reason, it ended up in my lap. And, so the casting lady, Janelle, told me, we got something cool for you if you can make it. And I said, absolutely. So when I got on set that day, I didn't know what I was doing. I got the makeup trailer, and they told me what was happening. And, I remember being brought out to set and seeing that the reaction of everybody in the crew was obviously like, oh, who's this walker? Who's getting to do this walker? And it was just like all eyes on me. So, and I was the only one in the scene. So it was a different experience for me because I was absolutely, for the first time, I think, the only person that they were filming. And it was very scary at first because, I'm used to at least having a couple other friends or, another actor in the scene. And, so yeah, it was different. And the weight, it was taxing on me a little afterwards, just knowing that what that was going to be in the future evolution of this story. Like, knowing that this moment we were working on and creating was going to carry forever into the future. It was a big thing for me to be a part of. And I definitely felt the weight that day of like, wow, I have to bring my A game. And I tried, I think, harder to be the best walker that I could be that day more than any other day. Just because it called it out of me. I think when things get tense and high stress, I'll tend to perform better. And that day was definitely, like you said, you felt that tension and the unease.
I think you did a fantastic job.
I've done that have been like that, but that one takes the cake.
I think you did an amazing job. I really do. I think it tied into everything very well. Just the portrayal of it was pretty amazing.
And watching you, Rick's after what they all just went through, and he's watching you, come out and everything.
It's like adding insult to injury. Rick's just like defeated. He's just like, shit.
Kind of. Some of the stuff though, like on a happier note, some of the stuff you've eaten. I mean, was that what exactly were you eating at that point?
Okay, so in that scene, it was just a pile of blood. So it was really just Karo syrup, food coloring.
Okay.
But when I've eaten a horse, and I think with the guy who said what's up earlier in the podcast, Eric. We ate a horse together, and I can't remember if it was barbecue that day or if it was like some kind of chicken. But sometimes it's barbecue, sometimes it's chicken, sometimes it's not real at all, and it's silicone, and you're just pretending to eat it.
Right.
So
yes. Eric, you and Steven have partaken in the barbecued horse.
That forms a bomb like nobody could understand.
That's interesting.
And
all
a
right.
good memory too about that actually is last year there was a guy on set who worked named James, and he was the special effects PA, and he became one of the props people, and he had spent all day preparing that barbecue, and swore it was good. And he was like, no, it's great. It's fine. And I think both Eric and I can attest to it doesn't matter what it is at that point. It's not good. Just be in the moment and get it done. Move along quickly.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, so we got a few more for you. I'm gonna trying to watch the time here with you. Linda wants to know, to those people who are going to be either auditioning or in thinking that being a walker is easy, what would you tell them?
I mean, I would say it's not as hard as a lot of things, but it's hard in a different way. And most people do, I think, underestimate it. I think a lot of people think like, oh, well, I mean, what do? You just, walk. And that there's a lot of nuances to it. None of us are taught how to be walkers in any particular way. So that's kind of the cool thing when you see a herd of us. We're not in unison. Nothing's uniform. Everybody has their own kind of style. It's a lot like skateboarding, where you develop your own way of movement. And, if you're good enough and challenge yourself enough, you can develop a way of movement for different walkers. And if you have the opportunity to play multiple ones, you should, I would think as an actor, seek to portray them as much as possible in different ways. But I think that's probably the most thing that they overestimate is what we talked about earlier with just the deprivation of having to deal with makeup for a whole day, then on top of that having to be creative and act, and it's challenging. But if you want those kinds of challenges, it's very rewarding. So it's that's what I would tell people pursuing it. If you want that challenge, go for it. But if you find sleep and working too long and all of that kind of stuff too much to deal with, it's not easy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you're kind of like silent acting. I mean, you are silent acting for the most part, besides a groan or something like that. But every zombie that you had to portray had different types of injuries, different types of, whatever done to them. You have to make that zombie come to life. You have to, maybe it's got an exposed rib cage, or maybe a leg's broken, or whatever, its neck's broken. Who knows? But you have to, you have to become that creature and work with the injuries that it's exposed. So that alone, I would rather have to remember a line than try to remember that I can't move a certain way because
it's not natural.
It's not natural, right? So
yeah. Well, for me, I like physical acting. I think that's what keeps me in creature work. Is I love to express myself physically.
Right.
So it's fun. But yeah, I can see some people, it's just overestimating the idea that it's not as challenging, especially when you're in the moment and there's cameras rolling and, a lot is at stake.
Everybody's staring at you.
Yeah,
you have to be kind of on point about it.
Yeah. Well, like you said, when you had the solo moment, like even you, after doing it for so long,
you were literally the sole focus.
Yeah.
It's not a horde of zombies. It's not the dumpster scene with Nikolas and Glenn. It's everybody's focused on you.
Yeah, no, that was my first experience with that on any set, and it's very overwhelming. Thankfully, that kind of stuff makes me step up to the plate. Without it, I don't know if I'd push myself that much in that direction. So I kind of need that challenge personally, but I've seen it with some people and actors. It can shut you down if you're not ready to be there and ready for that. I've seen stage fright happen many times.
Yeah. Well, Marissa just said, act like you're turning into a zombie right now, Steven.
Right now?
All right, I gotta get the fuck out of here. That's way too creepy. That's really good. I was waiting for my screen to open, You know?
Yeah,
I was waiting to crawl
out.
through the. Yeah, no, that was really freaking good.
Some ring zombie.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna do 3 more. We're hitting the hour mark with them.
Yep.
We're gonna do 3 more questions. We're gonna close it out for everybody. If we didn't get to all of them, we can tweet out some answers for you guys that stuff we've gone through. Just hang tight with us. We're gonna ask 3 more questions, and then we're gonna let Steven, mosey on along for the night. All right. So, favorite Walking Dead episode from Linda.
Favorite episode. I really like the episode. I don't know. I like a lot from season 4, and I know that's not a very popular season with some people. But I was a fan of a lot of the Beth and Daryl storyline. I really liked when whatever episode it was where she just really wanted to drink.
Mm-hmm. They're at that house and they burn down the house.
Yeah, I like that episode a lot. That's one of my favorites. I like Tyrese's death episode, season 5, episode 9.
Yeah,
I love that episode.
Greg Nicotero's direction in that episode. It's just on point. And I mean, just from a fan's perspective, myself, I'm happy to have been a part of that episode.
Right.
But even if I weren't, I think it was a fine piece of art.
I agree.
That episode had a lot of hidden Easter eggs in it, if you want to call them. We actually did a podcast.
Well, one of the first things I ever did on Beast Mode when I first started here with Chris and Matt was I did like a weekly conspiracy theory about The Walking Dead. And there's a famous conspiracy theory that in that scene that you hear these radio transmissions, that it's actually detailing Rick's group going around the country killing humans. Yeah. And they're actually a group of serial killers. And I actually dissected like each radio transmission and like cited like different evidence that supported that theory.
That theory. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty.
I'm gonna look into that. That's interesting.
It'll make you see the show in a very different light when you read that. Not sound cheesy or corny about it, but it's true. You especially after watching that episode, like you try to figure out what those transmissions mean, and if you don't attach them to that theory, they seem almost random. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and it really did. So it painted the picture that Rick and his bandits, basically, he's like Rick and his band of like crazy people. Like they were either, I don't know if they were drugs that were making them crazy or whatever it was, but these broadcasts were pretty much describing this group of people that were going around the country just murdering people.
Wow.
Yeah, so it gave you like this conspiracy twist on the show.
We can talk about the fact that they confirmed the link between Breaking Bad and the Walking Dead universe in Fear the Walking Dead. There was a popular theory that would go along with like doing drugs or whatever, that Breaking Bad was the prequel to Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that. I haven't delved too deep into it, but somebody actually tweeted me the other day, "Is this true?" And there was a link to that, an article about that.
Yep. Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
I never have. No.
Oh man, you get any downtime, dive in.
I've been told to by a lot of people, and it's one of those shows where when I sit down and have the opportunity, I just haven't yet, but I know I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth the time, believe me. Who's been your favorite director to work with on The Walking Dead?
Well, favorite hands down director is Greg Nicotero on The Walking Dead. Just seeing his the way he works, getting to work for him, getting to see how he worked with actors and how he gets them to perform. I felt very privileged to see all of that and learn. Mm-hmm. Whether they knew I was paying attention or not doesn't matter, but I was. And Greg Nicotero was definitely just, dude, he's a phenomenal creator across the board outside of the Walking Dead universe. Jennifer Lynch, episode 14, season 5. I think Aiden. It's another scene where I ate somebody, or being a part of a group that we ate Aiden in the factory. I was one of the walkers that Eugene in that episode comes out when he's carrying Tara and he shoots his first 2 walkers. I think we were called the Eugene grows a pair of walkers.
Yeah.
So I did that scene in there, but that's David Lynch's daughter. So getting to work for my favorite director's daughter in a weird way was just like, oh, that's cool. And then just seeing how she directed, and she had a very lively spirit, and she was a great director, and kept the energy up. And not a lot of directors coming in from other shows can work with a crew they're not familiar with and be able to maintain that energy.
Yeah. That scene, I actually not that I forgot about it, but you don't think about it a lot with Eugene when he comes out, he saves her life. Yeah, that's where, I guess you could say that's where Eugene, I guess, grew his balls, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely got some huge ones now for the shit he's pulling. So I mean,
some huge huevos.
Yeah, that's even besides the point. All right, so last but not least, I'm gonna ask you about the upcoming season 8 and All Out War. We know that obviously, you're not in the show anymore, but what are your thoughts on what's about to happen with this show?
Well, I actually do have to keep my mouth shut a little bit because I'm still friends with people that work on the show, so I know a lot that's going down.
These could be your assumptions. You're just assuming.
But, I would say, just from a fan perspective, I would think that a lot is coming in the way of punishment for Rick and for the Saviors.
Really?
I would say that an equal dose of pain is probably going to be dealt out to all sides.
Okay. Punishment, huh? Nick,
I think that's the it's all out war.
Yeah.
I think you should expect nothing less.
I was hoping Rick wouldn't go through any more punishment, but I guess he could take a little bit more. That's all right.
Yeah, his character, Andrew Lincoln is phenomenal for being able to portray Rick in some of the ways that his character has been written.
Right.
He's got such range with that character.
Yeah, no.
But he's been tormented to the point where, like, they got to give him a break.
I know. It stopped?
Oh.
Sorry. I didn't know what you did with everything. Yeah, no, he's you're obviously you're not the first person to say it about his character, but yeah, no, he is he does it probably. I don't think there's anybody else that, not that I don't think there's going to be else that could do it, but trying to see somebody else play his part, and right now I can't imagine anybody else doing it, but good, definitely. So punishment is coming to Rick. Punishment is coming to the Saviors. So all you Saviors fans, get ready because they're about to get wiped out. If if you know what I'm saying. All right, we are going to let Steven go. He's given us well over an hour, and we appreciate you doing that for us, answering everybody's questions. You want to say goodnight to everybody?
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Thanks for everybody tuning in and asking questions. Yeah, it's fun. So hopefully, maybe I'll see you guys again when Itch is coming out. I'll bring you up and be like, hey.
Yeah.
Start a conversation.
you know how to get a hold of us. We'll definitely be in touch. I mean, we would love to do it again. You know, do a little release party or something like that. That's cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next week. We'll tweet out, you know, everything for next week. Steven, once again, thank you for your time. Do me a favor, just hang on for 1 minute after we sign off with everybody, so we can close out with you. And we'll be back next week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Later, guys.
Later.